Well, hello, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Our next trolley stop is here, and our next trolley stop is now. Welcome back to another all-new episode of PR from the Heart's Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. To be precise, we have reached episode number 38. That is the 38th trolley stop here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast here at PR from the Heart. My name is John Masiulionis, the manager of PR from the Heart and the co-host of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, joined as always each and every month. You remember him and you love him as the beloved Mr. McFeely on the popular long-running children's television program show Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We know him and we love him as David Newell. I'm a little saddened because little Forrest isn't with me, but I'm even more excited to a certain extent because we are here in your neighborhood.
That's right.
The home of our favorite neighbor, Mr. Rogers. And of course, we are here at the Center for Media Innovation on the campus of Point Park University in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It is always great to be able to escape from the Zoom screens and connect in the earthly fashion, as I like to say, David. Great to be back here at the Center for Media Innovation and spending some time with you.
Yeah, welcome back to our neighborhood.
Oh, always good to be back here in the neighborhood. And for those of you who may be wondering why we have a Care Bear, well, if you are new to the program, one of the things that I land up doing here with David, we're always big on the shining stars here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. So I have these little stuffed plushy stars. And I realized we need something very special because not only are we going to be spending the month of April here at the Center for Media Innovation, episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, which we're going to be diving into momentarily, but we're also going to be spending the month of May here as well, too.
That's
so
right.
Back-to-back months at the Center for Media Innovation in downtown Pittsburgh. Special thanks to the entire CMI team, Andy, Tara, Amazing Wayne, Nick, Tanner, Olivia, who's actually enjoying a celebration with her family as well, to all of the entire CMI team for making us feel right at home within this beautiful neighborhood. And of course, if you are also new to the program, what we take the time to do each and every month here on the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, there's a little tip of the cap to your character in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Mr. McFeely. We deliver new heartfelt reviews from some of the best children's books that are available on the market from both published authors and self-published authors. It's very important that we let parents and caregivers and grandparents and educators know what is available in the world of children's literature, David.
Well, that's our mission, not to criticize.
Correct.
We want to know and let people know what's available. So
That is
here
correct.
we are. We've got one to let people know about. In a few minutes, we'll start.
That is correct. And of course, we do a little housekeeping here. This is my little broom emoji here, my little broom analogy here, right? Again, we've had the opportunity now to do this program for the past 3 years, and you might be saying, wow, like I'm just learning about the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast for the first time. One of the many ways you can pledge your support for us here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast and for us here at PR from the Heart is to subscribe to PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel, share this very special trolley stop that you are now enjoying. That is episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. You can go to our YouTube channel and enjoy any of the past 3 years plus worth of Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. I think I was doing the math the other day, David. It's well over 30 plus hours, and I believe we've tipped the scales of over 100 books.
100 children's books.
100 children's books that we have had the chance to deliver heartfelt reviews on over the past 3 plus years. Of course, we also want to give a little tip of the cap to some of our favorite neighbors at Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh. Of course, since we are in Pittsburgh, we want to give a little shout out to the team at Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh. They are the Pittsburgh chapter of the National Non-for-Profit Children's Literacy Organization that provides children's books, developmental resources, and literacy tools to children that come from low-income families all across Pittsburgh. Did you know that last year alone, Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh delivered over 100,000 children's books to over 23,000 children in need. You can pledge your support for Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh. As we like to say here at the program, no donation is too large, no donation is too small, and most importantly, it is rifpittsburgh.org. That is their official website. And again, you can continue to pledge your support for Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh, just like we have the opportunities to do each and every month here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast.
Say that one more time.
It is rifpittsburgh.org. We've included that in the description below as well, too, just to make things easier in the process. The anthem, the theme of this bookcast, because we are now fully immersed in spring. Easter has come and gone. David, today, this trolley stop, the message is about perseverance.
All right.
And this is something that really kids can connect with and relate to. As kids take the time to grow up, you experience your challenges, you experience your growing pains, as the expression goes. And there's times in life our little ones may want to give up, throw in the towel, and heck, even for us as adults. Because you know what? Adulting is hard, right? That's a term that I coined recently, adulting, right? You know, you got to take care of, put the laundry away and take the dishes, or take the dishes out.
Take the dishes out of the dishwasher.
Take the dishes out of the dishwasher. You got to take care of your pet. You got to take care of your kids. You got to pay the taxes.
A lot of responsibilities.
There's a lot of responsibilities. Long story short, adulting can be hard, but it's so important that we take the time to realize the importance of perseverance, the importance of hard work. And this is, one of the things we feel his presence, we feel his spirit every time that we're here in Pittsburgh. You're in Pittsburgh every day. I'm out on the West Coast in San Diego. But I believe Mr. Rogers wrote a song and he sang it called "You've Got to Do It."
Yes.
And there's times where we might be scared of doing that thing that we need to do. For me, I just actually announced to the world that I am in the midst of writing and publishing my first children's book. And that's taken, 6 or 7 years to get to this particular point. I kept telling myself, you know what, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I've been hearing Fred speak very loud to me saying,
You've got to do it.
Now's the time. You have to be able to do it. So we are going to be taking the time to deliver 2 heartfelt reviews. We're going to be sharing 2 brand new children's books here on episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. And we have some special guests that are going to be joining us in studio, because one of the cool things is that when David and I connect with one another in studio at the Center for Media Innovation, we actually have the authors behind the books that join us in studio. So there's a little bit of a difference, of course, in the program. When we join one another remotely and virtually, we're just delivering the heartfelt reviews of the books, but those are still super cool nonetheless. But it's always an extra added bonus, an extra added plus. It's just like the cherry on the ice cream sundae when the authors actually join us in studio. So as we like to say also, we're going to be starting off at the top, the forefront, and the onset. We're going to be starting off and kicking off the April edition of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast with award-winning and best-selling children's author Antoinette Tripodi Quinn. She has released her brand new children's book, Andrew Conquers the Court. Now, it is a basketball-themed book, hence you can hear the term Andrew Conquers the Court, but you're going to be learning as you always have your trusted notes with you. Wherever you are, wherever you go, if you happen to run into David Newell at the supermarket in Pittsburgh, he may have trusted notes with him. You never know, right? But as we're starting to see, there's more kids are starting to play youth sports as well too. It really teaches them a lot in many respects. Antoinette's going to be talking a little bit more about that. But one of the things that I really love about this book, before we crack the cover and dive into the pages, this is in many respects a real life story, because her son is named Andrew and he experienced the same journey that Andrew in the story actually shared. And we'll give a little spoiler. The story does have a happy ending. Yes. But of course, we don't necessarily want to give away the whole kit and caboodle in its entirety. So again, David's going to be sharing his reflections on the story as well too. But again, one of the main reasons why we do these programs, one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for children's authors all across the country and all around the world, is to be able to purchase their books, check them out at your local library, give them 5-star reviews, give them a like, a thumbs up on their social media platforms. There's different ways you can pledge your support for children's authors, including Antoinette Tripodi Quinn. So let us crack the cover and dive into the pages of Antoinette Tripodi Quinn's Andrew Conquers the Court. David, take her away.
Okay, Andrew Conquers the Court. Well, Antoinette dedicated the book to her husband and her sons, who their names are Andrew and Sean, and their encouragement made the book possible. And I also like in the foreword, she gave credit and special thanks to Coach Fenton and Coach Cray, who are actually, they're not made up, they're the coaches who helped Andrew.
They're real life coaches.
And the book opens with Andrew jumping out of bed and getting ready for tryouts, the tryouts for the 5th grade basketball team. He loved basketball, and he played it for as long as he could remember. But after school, Andrew rushed to the locker room to put on his basketball gear and get to the court. And his friend Wiel called to him and asked Andrew, "Are you ready for the tryouts?" And Andrew answered, "I'm ready." So in the gym, Andrew got the ball and started to warm up. The coach had them sprint up and down the court, and then he had groups of boys taking turns at shooting the ball at the basket. Andrew was sure that the coaches would be impressed with how he shot the ball. Then the coaches formed two teams to see how the boys would play defense. At the end of the tryouts, the coach said, "Tomorrow you will know who made the team." Well, the next day, the coach handed Andrew an envelope. And Andrew rushed to the school parking lot where his dad was waiting in the car. And Andrew ripped open the envelope only to learn that he had not been picked for the team. Aww. Well, his father said, "You can try out next year. Keep practicing." And arriving home, he showed the letter to his mother, and she suggested that he ask the coach, "Well, what can you work on?" Ask the coach, "What can you work on for next year?" Concentrate on what the coach thinks you need to play good basketball. Well, the next day in school, he learned that he was the only one of his friends group that did not make the team.
Bummer.
But why, he wondered. Well, he went to the coach's office to find out what he could do and to do better. And the coach said that he would like Andrew to play a better defense. Now, I'm not a coach of basketball, and I would think that defense is very important, so I think we'll learn. Learn to play defense, and you will be unstoppable, said the coach. Well, after school, he played the game with his friends in the driveway, and he wanted to show them that he could have made the team. I think he was a little embarrassed that he didn't make the team. But as they played, he missed every shot. And he thought, well, maybe I wasn't quite as good as I thought I was. Well, later that day, he had in his room a quote from a basketball player. And that quote said, "My belief is stronger than your doubt." Mm-hmm. And it was a quote from a famous basketball player whose name was Dwayne Wade. And he had that quote in a picture frame in his room. Well, that quote in that picture seemed to inspire Andrew to believe in himself. He started playing basketball any chance he could get, practicing dribbling skills, and joined his town's traveling team. There was a traveling team that he joined. Good practice. And then he joined another traveling team in the spring. And his friend Jackson had a court in his backyard, and he would go to Jackson's house and play basketball in their driveway. Andrew didn't give up. You see where we're going here, a little perseverance coming in. He practiced, and he practiced all year long. Well, the basketball tryouts arrived again. He felt he could run faster, shoot better, and his defense was stronger than ever. Will the coach notice? The next day, he went to the coach's office, and the coach handed him an envelope, just as he did a year ago. And Andrew ran to meet his dad in the car. And when he got to the car, he opened the envelope and read that he had made the team. And the practice is next Monday. And after a week of playing, the coach called out the starting lineup. Now that's important, the starting lineup. If you get chosen for that, the coach has confidence in you. And Andrew's name was called. Well, that year, the team was undefeated. And Andrew was the leading scorer, And at the awards ceremony, Andrew was named the most valuable player. Now, we're all familiar with that,
Yep,
the MVP.
The MVP.
And the illustration on the last page, Andrew is shown holding his MPV award and thinking to himself about the days, weeks, and months of practice. And he was thinking that, he smiled, and he knew that he did his homework, so to speak.
Yep.
He practiced. And that is the end of the story. And I loved, and he smiled. I like that, the last ending of that. And that is the story of Andrew Conquers the Court by Perseverance.
That's true.
Not giving up.
Yes, and it's, starting off with what you just mentioned at the very, and thank you for your shares, David. Right on point with that. Awesome job. Talking about what you mentioned at the very end, the "and he smiled" reference. One of the things that we need to be a little bit more consciously aware of, and to help our kids do the same, it's interesting. How often do we take the time to celebrate, right? It's important that we take the time to celebrate more than what we normally do. So there's times where something really good may happen. And maybe if there was a large span of time in your life where not a lot of good stuff happened, you might just be like, well, okay, this was just something nice that happened to me. But maybe you might have an old belief system of, I'm not worthy of good things, or good things don't happen to me, right? And so it's important, if you feel that way, take the time to celebrate more, right? So again, all of the time, the effort, the intention, the hard work, the attention to detail, all of the little things added up to help Andrew conquer the court and to be able to give himself more self-esteem, more confidence, and more of that belief in yourself, right? And it's a matter of, again, we can get very frustrated very easily. We can get very upset at ourselves. We can tend to be our own worst critic, right? But this is also where being compassionate with yourself comes into the equation, being gentle with yourself. It's long since been said, and I'll paraphrase it. I'm not necessarily sure who said this at first, but take the time to be 1% better tomorrow than what you were today.
But it doesn't happen overnight either.
No.
And it can you can be defeated, and sometimes I know my son was up to a certain point, and then they stopped, and you can get burned up fast, and then you just, it's okay to stop, think about the game, and then continue on. But it's that pushing yourself, that perseverance that makes the difference. You've got to do it.
Well, and it's interesting too, because again, we always kind of share some of our favorite memories of Mr. Rogers here regularly on the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. And if you remember, you obviously remember this because you were there for all of it, when Mr. Rogers experienced challenges along his way, when he had to testify in front of Senator John Pastori,
right,
and was trying to secure $20 million worth of funding for PBS, right? And that involved a lot of courage.
Oh, yes.
Fred had to know what to say because, according to the Morgan Neville film, A Beautiful Day, or that was the Tom Hanks film, it was Won't You Be My Neighbor? And, Senator John Pastori was tired of hearing just things being spoken in the same way. So Fred had to be able to know what to do, to prepare, and he was just his authentic self.
Yes.
And long story short, not to spoil it, but the $20 million worth of funding came for PBS, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood continued. And there were some people that necessarily didn't get the program at first. They didn't necessarily understand it, and then there were, I'm sure, some people that were questioning Fred to see if he had some sort of ulterior motive or an agenda. He just really cared about kids.
He did. And that $20 million that he got on that testify, why should we give you $20 million, is what the senator was asking. Yep. And Fred was saying, here's why. And he just put down his notes, and it all came from the heart. And that clip is on different channels, or YouTube and so forth. But that was in the late 60s.
Correct.
But it really helped public television move to the next level, and he persevered.
And that's the linking thread between Andrew Conquers the Court and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I also, again, really love the real life human element, the real life experience. Oftentimes those are the best kinds of stories because, there are actual, Andrew is an actual person, and
Yes.
he's still playing basketball right now. He, I believe, is in college, if I'm not mistaken. We can talk to Antoinette a little bit more about that as well, too. But, showing the fact that there's, again, and we've talked about this in previous editions of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, the importance of a support system. Andrew had the support of his family. He had the support of his friends. He even had the support of his coach, who said, listen, you know what, you didn't make the team, but here's what you can do to get better. So he had a great coach. Not all coaches are like that. They might just, make the cut and say, better luck next year, right? But this particular coach took the time, gave him a little bit more assurance and says, you know what, you have it in you. Here's what you need to take the time to work on. The other thing that I want to mention too is that Andrew knew he needed to work on those things. How does the expression go? Sometimes people feel that you have to, is it the mountain going to Mohammed or Mohammed going to the mountain? You have to be the one who puts in the work. You can't just say, I want to lose 25 pounds and just sit and eat chocolate bonbons, right? You got to take the time. I haven't said the phrase bonbons in a while. I've been, in my time in Pittsburgh, I've been saying the words Sanka and bonbons. These are really, we had the conversation about Sanka off air. And I don't drink coffee. Something about the Pittsburgh energy, ladies and gentlemen, our friends and neighbors. What can I say?
But this book is, I think it's a testimony to perseverance. And Antoinette can tell us more about how she came to write it.
And it really is. This is a great story. Like if you would look up perseverance in the dictionary, and you would not only necessarily want a definition, but a book, a children's book especially, that best connects with the energy and the heart and the intention of perseverance, it is Andrew Conquers the Court. We encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course our fellow shining stars, to head on over to Antoinette's official website, atqauthor.com. You can also head on over to Amazon.com if that is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing. Be sure to leave a 5-star review for Antoinette. That's one of the many ways you can pledge your support for her, to let her know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and for those who love great children's books, for basketball and non-basketball players alike, and of course for all educators as well. If you want to be able to facilitate your own author school visit with Antoinette for the forthcoming 2024-2025 school year, because of course educators are already prepping for the upcoming year, you can connect with Antoinette via her official website, again, atqauthor.com. But waiting in the wings, joining us, the trolley, of course, as we always mention, it starts off in San Diego, it goes to Pittsburgh, and then, of course, it went back to Rochester, so just a short commute, and then it's going to be going back here to Pittsburgh. Joining us in studio momentarily, award-winning and best-selling children's author Antoinette Tripodi Quinn will be sharing more about her story. We've got some great questions to be able to ask. Stay tuned. We hope that you are enjoying episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. Here at PR from the Heart, here from the Center for Media Innovation in downtown Pittsburgh on the campus of Point Park University. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. Well, we are back here at the Center for Media Innovation in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the campus of Point Park University. Thank you for spending some time with us back here in our neighborhood at PR from the Heart and the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. I'm John Masiulionis. He is David Newell. Little Forrest is off with his pet sitter in San Diego. Hello, Forrest. We love you, and we're sending some Pittsburgh hugs your way.
That's his dog.
Yes. Yeah. Longtime viewers of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcasts know who Little Forrest is, but for those who are new to the program, he's my little Shih Tzu Maltese on my end of things, my pride and joy in the process. And again, we are so grateful that we're connecting to the message, the anthem of episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, and that is perseverance. And anytime that you do something for the first time, it involves perseverance, including writing a children's book. And not just any children's book that we're talking about, because of course we have just been fully immersed in Antoinette Tripodi Quinn's brand new, award-winning best-selling Andrew Conquers the Court, and creator of the story, the author of the story, Antoinette Tripodi Quinn, is actually joining us here in studio. The trolley, again, it travels, just as a refresher course, once again from San Diego to Pittsburgh, and then over to Rochester. I think I'm doing the arrows right in the back of my head.
We get it.
We get it, and then back here in Pittsburgh. So great to be able to have you here and join us in studio for a wonderful conversation.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
And welcome to the neighborhood.
Yes.
Thank you.
The Pittsburgh neighborhood.
Yes.
Have you ever been here before?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
you have a sister here.
Yes, my sister lives near here. I have friends here. I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's
so yes.
You're a
We're big
neighbor.
Steeler fans, all of those good things.
You have to be if you live in the radius.
Yes.
We have a few questions too, don't we?
We have some really fun questions, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. Your story began in the classroom.
Yes.
And ended on the court, but that's not where it ends. It's really where things begin to take off, more so than anything. You've had the opportunity to share your story, Antoinette did, across the country, and now the trolley, as I mentioned, has brought you here to Pittsburgh. What has this experience been like for you and for your son? Because like being featured on television stations, some of the largest ones in the country, like I can only imagine it's just been really cool to kind of see this whole journey unfold over time in a really magical way.
Yeah, it's really been absolutely an amazing journey that I've had from beginning to now. I don't want to say beginning to end because it's not the end.
Oh, no.
Just to now. And I've been so humbled by how so many people have embraced the story, not only in where I live, which is Webster, New York, near Rochester, and really where the story takes place, but also children and families everywhere. And I think because it's not just a basketball book, it's really a book about, like you were saying, perseverance, determination, grit, really, and having grit to move forward in something that you may be struggling with. So, and Andrew has been just so supportive in the whole process. He has enjoyed watching it kind of start and seeing the whole book process, and then also just seeing how it's impacting kids. He's realizing how his story can have such a positive impact on kids.
Well, you've been in education now for what, 30 years?
Yes,
is that right?
almost 30 years.
And
yes.
now you're an author. Well, I've written a question down here. I wanted to find out.
Okay.
And it's you. And you have 2 boys.
I
But
do.
Andrew is the Andrew of Andrew Conquers the Court.
Yep.
And how did working in schools with children, students and your own kids, help you to prepare for this chapter of your life of being an author? Did that in any way impact or be helpful in writing books?
Yes, every day I realize how much my background in education is making an impact on this role that I've now taken on as being an author. As a teacher in the classroom, I've used children's books in so many different ways to teach so many different lessons, whether it's a social emotional type lesson or if it's a lesson about a science concept. I'll bring in a children's book in order to connect with kids, and it's and just doing that has made me always want to write a children's book. So that was really
you
one of the
brought a
reasons.
children's book into a class of children that were a little older for the children. Is that what you mean?
I have, yeah, I have. I taught primarily 5th and 6th graders.
So you might have brought a children's book designed for a first grader in just to get the point across. Is
Absolutely,
that right? I see.
yeah, absolutely. It's a way to really get kids to connect with what they're learning, or maybe it's to introduce a lesson, or maybe it's to close a lesson, and could be a favorite story that they heard when they were younger, but never realized the connection between what they learned then and maybe what they're learning now. I think you mentioned Eric Carle earlier, and he has the book about the caterpillar, the 100 caterpillars. So in science, a lot of times kids are growing in butterflies in their classroom and watching the life cycle of the butterfly. And so bringing in that book could be a fun way to teach and know what they're going to be seeing as they're watching their butterflies in their classroom develop into adults. Yes. Uh-huh.
That's quite a what's that called? A metamorphosis? Is that what that's called?
Metamorphosis, yes.
I'll remember that for mine.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
Do you have a question? You have a question now,
Actually,
too.
I think you've got another question.
Oh, I do?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I do. I had 2 in a row.
Okay.
Okay, my next question is, one of the most important themes of your stories, or that story at least, is perseverance, and that's wonderful. Which is the key for our kids, the perseverance, but especially when they're growing up? How can we as parents and caregivers do our part to instill in children that gene for perseverance?
Yes. Yeah, I think there are several things that parents can do to help with this. One is to model for our kids. That is something in education that we do for a lot of lessons, is modeling for kids what we want to see from them. And so kids knowing that adults also need to persevere, or how we've persevered in our life, I think can be very helpful for kids to realize that we all go through difficult times and we do need to push through to see that success. Something else I think as adults, we want kids to not fear making a mistake or having a setback. And that can be very, sometimes it's looked at, oh, we can't make a mistake. That's a bad thing. But oftentimes it's our biggest learning opportunity.
It's a lesson.
It's a really big lesson. So teaching our kids to not be afraid of that. And one way we can help them with that is to, when they experience these things, to talk with them about what they're feeling and understanding that something that may feel really huge to them, if they talk it out with an adult, we can figure out ways in which we can get to our goal, and adults can help them find the resources to get there. And like you said, John, celebrate along the way as we are making our successes to those goals.
And it's very very fitting, very poignant that we're talking about this thread right now, because in visiting the Fred Rogers Institute, a special shout out to our friends and neighbors at the Fred Rogers Institute, doing a little bit of research on Fred for my children's book, which the importance of things that are mentionable being manageable. And so many articles that I was seeing, whether it be newspaper interviews, whether it be talks that Fred did, was talking about the key, the importance of helping your children so that they know that no matter what it is that they're experiencing, especially when it comes to emotions and feelings, it's a part of being human. It's natural. And so I just love how there's always the element, the kind of the tie-in between the children's book that we're sharing and Mr. Rogers.
Well, yeah, what you just said would sound very much what Mr. Rogers would agree with too. And in the book where the mother, or that could be you, said, well, why don't you find out what you need to work on, and don't be afraid or ashamed of a mistake, and being able to accept mistakes and then go on and learn from them.
Absolutely.
And that is the lesson, is learning from your mistakes, I think. And you cover a lot of that in the book, and that'd be wonderful for a teacher to read to younger children. And so
yes, I had the opportunity yesterday to go to the Seneca Valley School District and meet with a second grade class at Rowan Elementary, and I read the story to them, and they were very into the story, and they were especially into the story when we zoomed in with Andrew, and Andrew got to talk with the class. They were so thrilled to see him. They asked such thoughtful questions for him.
So Andrew was in Rochester or wherever he was.
Yes, at school in Scranton.
And
yes.
They zoomed into the classroom.
Yes. So they got to meet him, and they got to.
See, you couldn't do that.
No, you
20
couldn't.
years ago, 10
yes,
years
no,
ago.
that's true.
Wonderful.
That's the magic of technology today. But yes, they could ask him questions, and they were just very excited about that.
But I hope that is also a positive that those students connect your reading to wanting to learn and read more. I hope it encourages them
do
to be
too.
readers.
Yes, absolutely.
It's harder work these days to encourage reading because of all
Yes.
the media that surrounds us.
For
but
sure.
good for you going to the school. I think it's wonderful to see them in person.
Yes, I do too. It was a great experience. It was a great class. So
Oh, good.
I thank them for letting me come to their class.
They keep you pretty
A
busy.
special, yes, I was to say a special hi to Miss Cardillo's class. So
It
thank
sounds
you.
like those kids are all-stars, which is a perfect transition
Yes.
because the NBA playoffs,
Yes.
for all basketball fans that are out there, I'm sure there's plenty of our listeners and viewers, friends and neighbors and fellow Shining Stars that are basketball fans. Kids across the country, kids around the world will be seeing their favorite all-stars go after their dream of winning an NBA championship. But sports, really, they're a microcosm for life, David. Antoinette, how does playing sports prepare kids to be all-stars in the real world, not just in the classroom, not just at home, but overall in the real world?
There's so many connections that I've seen watching both my boys play various sports, basketball being their primary sport. We told Andrew when he was going through, and we watched him go through this whole process of a disappointment to success and all the hard work in between, that this was really a metaphor for life.
Oh, yes.
That whether it's on the court or in the classroom or in a job, any of those things, when you are having a setback, that hard work will help propel you towards success. But also there's things as they're participating in a sport, that they're learning about, like collaboration and teamwork, goal setting, and then feeling that success when they meet their goal. All of those things are really leadership skills that we want our kids to have when they do go out into the real world and do various things that they want to do.
Yeah, there's two things I was thinking of. One being that not everybody, you can practice, but not everybody is going to be Michael Jordan. But there's a healthy way of accepting that too.
Sure.
And the other thing is, what do you hope that the reader, or readers, you hope many readers,
Yes.
take away from the book? What was your goal, the one thing that you hoped that by writing the book, the reader would take away?
Lasting impressions, yeah.
So I wanted to write the book because I wanted kids that read the book to see themselves in Andrew. So when they had a setback, that they knew that they could do something about it, that they don't have to, it doesn't stop there, that they can do something to propel themselves forward. They do have a second chance. They can get better. They can become stronger at whatever they want to do. There was a time when, as I was writing the book, where I saw something on social media. It was a mother who had written something about how she was very upset because her daughter didn't make the cheerleading team. And her daughter, of course, was upset as well. And so I was reading this, and I was in the midst of writing the book, and I responded to her. I said, let me tell you, I told her what happened with Andrew, and I said, this is not the end for her. This might be a new beginning for her. And so that's really what I want them to take away, is the fact that they can be even better than they ever thought they could be.
Well, that's exactly what you did.
Yes, yes.
Andrew took that away. And I hope that millions of other kids will take that message away. And it could be any sport for that matter.
Absolutely, yeah.
It could be a dance, it could be ballet, it could be baseball. But it's the message of perseverance that's the most important. That's my takeaway anyhow.
Yeah.
And also special shout out to your illustrator, Ava Morales, who
Wonderful.
really just encapsulated the heart of Andrew. You could really sense, like, he's going to do it. We talked about Mr. Rogers, and you've got to do it. You could really sense through the illustrations that Andrew was doing it. He wasn't eating chocolate bonbons and saying things are going to turn around overnight. He wasn't drinking. That'd be an interesting combination. If you drank Sanka and ate chocolate bonbons, it's probably not good for the digestive system. I have no idea why we're mentioning Sanka and chocolate.
Why you have Sanka on the brain today?
I'm an old soul. What can I say? We encourage all of you, once again, our listeners, our viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course our fellow shining stars, to head on over to Antoinette's official website, atqauthor.com. If Amazon is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, of course you can leave a 5-star review for Andrew Conquers the Court. That's one of the many ways you can pledge your support for Antoinette, to let her know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and for those who love great children's books. Of course, if you feel guided to do so, to leave that 5-star review in the process. And again, for all educators all across the country, sooner than we know it, it's hard to believe, but the 2024-2025 school year will be around the corner. If you want to facilitate your own author school visit with Antoinette, you can connect with her via her official website, which once again is atqauthor.com. One of the coolest books we've had the chance to be able to share in our near 10 years of being of service to children's authors at PR From the Heart. Our pleasure. We still have more to go here, David, because this is the month of April. This is my return here back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and it's
Well, good. You're always welcome in our neighborhood.
Oh,
and I hope librarians, after they see this, are dialing the phone, ordering your book.
And I was just going to say, because David, you know what we say,
wonderful,
especially about local libraries and
Yes.
children's and independent bookstores. They are
Yes.
truly the pillars of our community. So
Yes.
again, we always like to say here at the Bookcast, make that kind recommendation. If you do not see Andrew Conquers the Court at your favorite local or independent children's or independent local bookstore, your favorite local library, make that kind recommendation. Let them know that you heard about Andrew Conquers the Court here on episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. We will be shifting gears, but continuing on the anthem and the theme of perseverance, as we are going to be sharing and delivering a neighborly review of Lisa Wentzell's new children's book, A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty, and Lisa, the author behind this beautiful story.
That's right.
And her entire family, Lisa and her husband Scott, and their amazing son Scotty, will be joining us on set as well too. So we're just beginning here. We're fully immersed in episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, as we're again emanating from the Center for Media Innovation here on the campus of Point Park University in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Special thanks again to the CMI crew behind the scenes, Andrew, Tara, the amazing Wayne. He's a superhero because he knows how to mic people up really well. In addition to Tanner and Nick and Olivia, who's enjoying a wonderful celebration with her family. We will be back with more of episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Center for Media Innovation here on the campus of Point Park University. Welcome back to downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the home of our favorite neighbor, Mr. Rogers. It is good to be back in your neighborhood. David, you, of course, are tuned into episode number 38 of PR From the Heart's Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. We hope that you are enjoying your month of April with David Newell. Of course, you know him, you love him. You remember him as the beloved Mr. McFeely on the popular long-running children's television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Of course, we know him and we love him as David Newell. And of course, little Forrest, for those who are keeping score at home, he is enjoying some quality time with his pet sitter in the process. And, you know, little Forrest will be back with us in the month of June because, yes, we're going to be spending another month. We're going to be spending the month of May here also at the Center for Media Innovation in downtown Pittsburgh on the campus of Point Park University. And it's actually interesting. David has actually told me that this is actually one of his favorite sports coats. This is one of his favorite shirts and one of his favorite pair of pants. So much so that when we reconnect next month, you love that attire so much, you actually may don it twice, as the expression goes.
Well, it's the only set I have.
Continuing on with the theme, with the anthem of perseverance, I'm really jazzed to talk about this story. We also, as we mentioned with Antoinette, Tripodi, Quinn, and talking about Andrew Conquers the Court, oftentimes the stories that are inspired by real life people, real life events, they really touch the heart that much more. And there's a very special boy who's going to be joining us in studio with his family by the name of Scotty Wentzell. Lisa Wentzell is his mom. She is the co-author of the brand new children's book, A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty. So the trolley's been racking up a lot of mileage here in episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. We, of course, started off in San Diego. We went to Pittsburgh. We went to Webster, New York, just right outside of Rochester, back to Pittsburgh, and then up to the beautiful state of Maine, and then back here to Pittsburgh in the process for our second book of episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. Let us now crack the cover and dive into the pages. Lisa Wentzell's A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty, and also a special shout out as well to Lisa's co-author as well too, David.
Okay, that is Heidi Bullen.
That is correct.
Okay, well, this is a charming book about a boy and his dog. And I guess it's the other way around. It's a dog and his boy,
Yep.
But it works both ways.
It does.
And the theme is friendship. However, the dog in the story is a stuffed toy dog. And in a way, it encourages the reader to use imaginations because it's set up as, it's told that it's a toy dog, but you use your imagination, he becomes a real dog in the story. Well, the dog's name is Spillway, and he is the narrator of the book. His boy's name is Scotty, and according to Spillway, it'll be me and Scotty for all our days. They plan to be together all their days. Well, what I like, the story is written in verse, and Spillway explains that Scotty was born with a syndrome affecting his heart. Together, Spillway and Scotty had some scary times, but the doctors and nurses made everything fine. And it goes on to say that Spillway says that Scotty sees everything in the world is pure and true to him. Scotty sees it's pure and true. As the story progresses, the illustrations show Scotty using a walker to help him walk, and he uses pictures to show how he feels and he communicates. In fact, he uses a sort of an iPad, and when he wants to talk to someone, he'll push John, and John comes up, and that's how he communicates. Then Spillway says that he will take the reader through our busy year, and here's where the action begins. The next 2 pages show Spillway and Scotty in Florida surfing and showing their delight on riding the waves. And they have some help with friends to guide them. And they love their time at Pine Tree Camp, where they can ride in boats, stay up late, swim, and spend time in the treehouse. They love all of that. And a favorite spot of Scotty's is a lighthouse on Portland Head, where they like to breathe the fresh sea air. And as the story continues to progress, the illustrations show them both riding a horse and riding Scotty's special bike. They have constructed a special bike so Scotty can maneuver. And I like the pages that represent all of Scotty's holidays and the holidays with Scotty and Spillway. And there are illustrations on different pages showing Scotty hugging Spillway on Valentine's Day, marching in the 4th of July parade, holding a shamrock on St. Patrick's Day, and in costumes for Halloween, pilgrims for Thanksgiving, and decorating for Christmas, all together. They're good friends, and they both attend the Special Olympics and compete in the skiing competition, but Spillway mentions that both Mom and Dad will help us. They just can't do that by themselves. They need it, but they help. But nevertheless, they go skiing. That's the important thing. Spillway says that they see Scotty's friends at school, and Scotty always makes them smile. And Spillway say, that's Scotty's style. And for the prom at school, they dressed in caps and gowns. And I guess this was really the prom that after graduation. And happy tears were streamed for Scotty's graduation. towards the end of the story, Spillway says that he's with his very best friend for most of the day. And when it's time for Scotty to sleep, and there's an illustration to show this in the book, it shows Spillway sitting outside of Scotty's door, bedroom door, and waiting until he hears Scotty snore. Then Spillway goes in and snuggles in the bed beside Scotty, and they snooze all night together. Friends forever. And the story ends by Spillway saying their adventures are great and filled with great joy. A life that's well lived for a dog and a boy. And afterwards, that was the end of the book. But afterwards, in the after pages, there's a lovely letter from Spillway after the story ends, and the last paragraph really sums up the dog and his boy. And here it is. Try to say hello to those different from you. Not only will you make them smile, you'll find that you are smiling too. and there's some thank you pages which I enjoyed from various organizations that has helped Scotty over the years and made the ventures possible, and organizations that have helped them. I listed a few, and there were ones called Special Surfers, and another's called Pine Tree Camp. Best Buddies is another. Oh, and this one is Equip Living, Maine Adaptive, Special Olympics, Portland Wheelers, and Riding to the Top. So all of those organizations were helpful in providing adventures for Scotty and Spillway. And if readers would like to get in touch with any of these organizations, there are emails listed in the back of the book, because they would be very helpful to contact. Oh, and a special mention for the vivid illustrations goes to Claudia Diller. I just wanted to put that in because it's a colorful book, really very vivid, and and I think the visuals support the story. Mm-hmm. Very supportive, but I think that the takeaway sentence is friendships have no limits, and that's certainly true with Scotty and his dog, or the dog and his friend, whatever you want to say, that's what it is. So that is the story, and I think we are going to bring in shortly.
Yes.
The author, one of the authors.
We're going to be bringing in Lisa. We're going to be bringing in her husband Scott. We're going to be bringing in their son Scotty, who is of course the heart
of the book. So Scotty will be here.
Yes.
And we'll all meet Scotty. But now you've heard the story. You've heard Scotty's story. Now it's time to meet the family, right?
Yes. Well, actually, just a few brief reflections that I wanted to share in addition to what it is that you had shared as well too. And awesome job in terms of really capturing the essence of the story. This is such a light and loving book. The world can tend to be very heavy at times. It's interesting because, through my travels here in Pittsburgh, I unfortunately came during a time where it's been raining, right? And when it rains, it can also be a metaphor for life. Like when it rains, it pours, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be that way all the time, but it can seem a little dense, a little heavy at times, and it's just like, I know I say this regularly, but children's books, and I take a page out of the vocabulary of Mr. Rogers when he says the term resources of care.
Yes.
And he classified that what you guys did for many years, many decades in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood was a resource of care. He provided a resource of care to children. Children's books are resources of care. This particular book is a resource of care. When we talk with Lisa and her family, talking about the importance of not even just friendship, but perseverance and empathy and inclusion and caring. I mean, there's just so many different messages weaved together. It's like this divine cornucopia, this divine tapestry.
Oh, that's a nice divine cornucopia. I'll have to remember that.
That's especially because, cornucopia is a Thanksgiving term, if I'm not mistaken, right? And just, showing the fact that Scotty has so much to teach us. it's very easy because we also live in a society that is unfortunately very judgmental, right? And if we see someone that looks different, talks different, acts different, we can easily say, quote unquote, what's wrong with this person, right? How come they don't talk like I do and whatnot? And I always let people know that, like, if we all look the same, talk the same, and acted the same, the world would be a pretty boring place, right? We all want to act with empathy, love, and compassion. So if we would all be like that, the world would be a better place. But, you know, it's so important to be able to embrace our authenticity, to embrace our uniqueness as well. And these are the things that Lisa and Scotty and his whole entire family are really reminding all of us at this particular point in time. And the fact that this book has really touched a lot of lives. You know, knowing the fact that Scotty loves making people smile, and he's been doing that in different events that his mom and him have been a part of together. And it's just so great because you also see, you know, Mother's Day is just around the corner as well too, right? And when you see that heartfelt bond between mother and son, you know that is possible, that there are some beautiful relationships between, you know, mothers and sons that are out there. And so again, there's so many different takeaways from the story as well too. And I know that Scotty's going to be having a special message for us as well too. So again, we encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course our fellow shining stars, to head on over to Amazon.com if that's your preferred online vehicle of your choosing. You could leave a 5-star review for A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty. That's one of the many ways that you can pledge your support, by the way, is leaving a 5-star review if you feel called and guided to do so. That lets Lisa, the Wentzell family, the entire team that helped put this book together, to let them know that they're doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and for those who love great children's books. And joining us, we're going to be expanding the set here at the Center for Media Innovation on the campus of Point Park University. Lisa Wentzell, along with her husband Scott, and of course the man of the hour himself, Scotty, will be joining us as featured guests in studios. We are fully immersed in episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast here at PR From the Heart, here at the Center for Media Innovation at Point Park University. Once again, special thanks to the entire team at CMI, from Andy and Tara to the amazing Wayne, to Tanner, to Nick, to Olivia, who's enjoying a nice celebration with her family. Again, if you are looking for the perfect school, especially for those future broadcasters to be, you head out to Pittsburgh, you're going to be well taken care of at Point Park University. I believe it is the Dennis Miller, the SNL alum, actually, is a Point Park University grad as well, too.
Many other people who are working in the business now. So it's really turns out wonderful professionals for the media end of it. I know that much.
And it has been our home and continues to be our home away from home, when David and I, as we like to say, we're in the 2 squares on the screen. That's what I call Zoom, 2 squares on a screen. And actually that's what it is. So again, the Wentzell family will be back right after this. Stay tuned for more of episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast here at PR From the Heart. We'll be back right after this. Well, our fellow neighbors, our fellow friends, our fellow shining stars, and everyone in between, welcome back to another all-new episode. You are fully enjoying episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast here at PR From the Heart. I am John Masiulionis. He is David Newell. Of course, again, you remember him and you love him as the beloved Mr. McFeely on the popular long-running children's television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We have some very special guests who are joining us in studio at the Center for Media Innovation on the campus of Point Park University. We just had the opportunities, David, to deliver, as a little tip of the cap again, to your favorite character, Mr. McFeely. We delivered a heartfelt review of A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty. Joining us in studio, again, the trolley traveled not super far, but a decent amount of ways from the beautiful state of Maine all the way here to Pittsburgh. Joining us in studio is the entire Wentzell family, of course, the co-author of A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty, Lisa Wentzell, in addition to her husband Scott, and of course, the man of the hour. He is, of course, the heart of this beautiful children's book that we have shared here today. Scotty is joining us in studio as well. Lisa, it's great to have you and your family here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, John and David, for having us and for reviewing our book, and we're just so thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
We're glad to be
Along with Spillway.
here. Yes, right? Absolutely. And Scott, you want to have Scotty say hi?
Sure. Scotty, do you want to say hi? Hey.
Oh, Scotty will say hi by...
Using his iPad that's how he communicates, is using his iPad. So he's going to press a button and it is going to say hi to you.
Scotty, hey, let's say hi.
There we go.
Hi, David. It's so nice to meet you. I'm excited for our interview today.
And can you say hi to
Thank you.
John?
Aw.
Hi, John. It's so nice to meet you. I'm so excited that we are working with you and for the interview today.
Good job,
All
pal.
right, thank you so much. That touches my heart, Scotty. And thank you also again for joining us, Spillway, because of course, Spillway and Scotty, they travel together wherever they go. And at least in Scotty, first of all, it's a blast having your family here. Your story is very touching, it's very poignant, it's very beautiful, and Scotty really is teaching us so much right now, especially. Now, everyone's life journey is different, and although the family journey can be challenging, your family's journey has really triumphed in uncovering hidden joys. Could you talk to us about your journey with Scotty and the joys that you've uncovered along the way?
Right, thanks. So it's been a journey. It's been difficult at times, but for the most part, it's been incredible. We're so blessed to have Scotty. And a couple of things I was thinking about, for us, Scotty didn't walk until he was 6, but it was right before one of his riding lessons where he took his first steps out of a walker. And that moment for us was it was incredible. And we had gone to our camp right after that, and all weekend long we were having Scotty walk back and forth between us. It was an amazing moment for us. And also the first time Scotty was skiing when he was 5. Scott and I are skiers, so seeing him come down the mountain was a pretty emotional moment for us.
By himself?
He was using a slider. It's a piece of equipment that is on skis that he holds on to.
Okay.
And then there's a volunteer behind him controlling speed and direction. But when we saw that, it was pretty incredible. And another hidden joy moment for me was when a parent of someone in Scotty's class had come up to me and said Scotty had given her a hug that day, and it was a hug that she really needed. And it's moments like that that are incredible for me to hear, but that he does for other people.
And you don't forget those moments, do you?
No, and this was several years ago, and I will never forget that.
Right. Mr. Rogers always, there are 2 songs I wanted to bring up. Mr. Rogers wrote a song called I Like You As You Are.
Right.
And he also wrote one, and I wrote it down here. There's another one that he wrote. Well, jumping to what that meant is he was very much interested in inclusion and acceptance on the program.
Right.
And I have a question here that I want to ask you. Are there ways for parents and caregivers and educators to help today's children foster virtues at home,
Right.
in the classroom and beyond? Anything you can suggest or
Right.
might be helpful to our viewers?
Absolutely. So the most important thing is to ask questions, I think, and having parents start conversations about people like Scotty. But one of the things his 3rd grade teacher did was have me come into the classroom and talk to the kids about Scotty and let them ask questions. So,
And was he there when you were talking
he was.
about?
It was his class.
I see.
Yes, and he was there, and I was able to talk to the kids about Scotty, and they could ask me anything they
Oh,
wanted.
that's wonderful, because that really opens doors for them too. They probably
Right.
wonder what you're there and that could be, it's a wonderful suggestion for people who might be in the same situation.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
can you think of any others that might be helpful?
Well, I think getting our book and
Oh, my,
reading
yes.
reading our book to children
Yes.
and having parents facilitate a conversation about Scotty and all the things that he can do, and just showing that everyone is different, and even though Scotty is differently abled, he still is living his life to the fullest.
Surfing proves that.
Right. Yes, he's a surfer.
But there's a special surfboard, is that correct? No?
He uses a regular surfboard, right? And he has a volunteer that
Is with him.
Yes, on the back of the board, so he goes straight and doesn't curve off and fall in. But it's a wonderful organization. The volunteers are amazing.
My goodness, surfing was my downfall. I couldn't do it.
Well, he doesn't stand up.
Okay.
He lays down on
Well,
the
nor
board.
did I.
Okay, all right.
It's very fitting that you talk about the phrase of living life to the fullest, because Scotty's story and your book, they're really lessons and testaments to living life to the fullest. Why do you feel that that's so important, especially as of right now? Not just for kids, but for us as adults. We talk regularly here on the program, on the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, how us as adults, we can feel and be jaded and cynical and wondering, are things going to get better, or woe is me, or life is this kind of way. And there's people out there that don't feel, I go back to one of my favorite Christmas movies, Bill Murray in Scrooged. And there's people, he says, as Francis Xavier Cross, he says, there are people that are afraid and they're feeling challenged. They're unable to make their miracle happen. So when it comes to living life to the fullest, why is that so important now for all of us?
Well, for Scotty, it's important because he is different, and we are so fortunate to have all these organizations for him to be part of, like Special Surfers, like Maine Adaptive. And not very long ago, people like Scotty were in institutions and were segregated, but now they are included in schools, and adults are part of the community.
And Scotty has never been in a group home or always at home?
Always at home.
I see.
Yes, yes.
And that's true. There were a lot in group homes, right?
Yes.
And this is he's getting all the enrichment of what's around him.
Right, and
especially Spillway.
right, having his friend by his side.
How did Spillway come into the picture? I'm curious.
So Scotty didn't really like small stuffed animals, and I saw Spillway at L.O. Bean one day, and I thought maybe he might like him for his birthday. So his 9th birthday, Spillway was presented to Scotty, and they've been together ever since.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the book, when you read the book, I know it was a toy dog.
Right.
But he's comes to life in the book.
Yes.
Along with, it's a wonderful book. It's,
Thank you.
And you wrote it along with, you had a co-writer, right?
Yes, my friend Heidi Bullen. It was, so I've been wanting to, about 10 years ago I had thought about writing a book for Scotty, about Scotty, because I wanted people to see all the things that he can do, focus on that, not what he can't do. And that we don't sit at home, we're not all sad because Scotty's the way he is, we're having fun. And it wasn't the right time. And then during the pandemic, one day I just texted Heidi and I said, will you write this book about Scotty with me? And she said yes.
And here we are.
Yes, and I'm so thankful for her that she did this with me. And she's been a friend, and also our illustrator Claudia is a friend. And having people that know Scotty since he was born makes the book very special to me.
Oh, boy. And to think that the challenge of you live in Maine, right?
Yes.
And to get in the car, you drove,
We
right?
drove here.
And to come all the way to Pittsburgh, that's quite an ordeal just with the two of you.
Right, yes.
But that's wonderful that Scotty can get out and see the world, so to
Absolutely.
speak.
Right.
And I like his jersey, there's Scotty and Spillway.
Is that Scotty and Spillway?
Right?
I'm also
Yes.
really curious because the story is, growing up, I had stuffed animals. And I wish in many respects that those stuffed animals could come to life. And I kind of have that in my own way now with little Forrest, right? But the story is seen through the lens of and the perspective of Spillway. Why do you feel that was the route that you wanted to go down? And then based on that, especially, David, we were talking about how this is really connected to the theme of friendship. What does this sweet story, do you feel, teach us about the power of friendship?
Right. So it was actually my mom that we got the idea from to write the book from Spillway's point of view.
Really?
Yes, she wrote down, she was thinking about Spillway and Scotty and decided to write some things down, and she sent it to me and said, you can do whatever you want with this. And it was written from Spillway's point of view.
Yes, I like
so
that.
we thought that would be a great way to engage kids. It's more exciting, like I think, to have the dog tell the
Oh, yes.
story about Scotty, and Spillway it just kind of happened that he does everything with Scotty, and that they've been together, and he's always by his side, giving him courage and so he can be brave to do all these fun things.
Now, when he waits outside Scotty's bedroom,
Yes.
is it you that takes Spillway into the bedroom?
Yes.
I mean, in real life, right?
Oh, it really happens, yes. So when they go to bed together, and sometimes he's kind of not ready to go to sleep, so there's a lot of noise and banging. So, and I think he likes to throw Spillway off the bed and then pick him up. So if it's like a long time that this is going on, I will go up there and take Spillway out and put him outside the door until Scotty's asleep, and then I bring him in. So when he wakes up, Spillway is there.
And it's interesting that you had mentioned these were more of the mantras of Fred Rogers, that there's no person in the whole world just like you, and then I like you just the way that you are. Mr. Rogers really was a champion of radical acceptance and empathy and inclusion and kindness, and I really feel, and I'm sure that you'll agree with me on this, that Fred is smiling down on Scotty, knowing the impact, the indelible impact, not even just the impact, the indelible impact that he's making on the world and on all of us, and teaching us and reminding us of these virtues. And you already had kind of dove into that a little bit further as well. Scotty, before we officially wind down our trolley stop here, you have a special message for all of us. What would you like to share with our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and our fellow shining stars who are watching at home?
Okay.
What do you think, pal?
Scooch it up.
Here's a special
Let's
message.
scooch up because
coming
we're going to get
Yes.
a message. Ready?
Here you go.
Ready?
Let's do it.
David, John, and all of our neighbors and viewers out there, thank you for sharing my story and my message of acceptance, inclusion, and friendship. And as the last paragraph of our book says, say hello to those different from you. Not only will you make them smile, you'll find you're smiling too.
Very nice.
That was
Thank you, Scotty.
Scotty, that was very well spoken, that was very eloquent, and we really appreciate. One of the things that I really love about you and Spillway is that you communicate from your heart. And that's really what it's all about. We encourage, again, all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and our fellow shining stars, head on over to Amazon.com if that's your favorite online vehicle of your choosing. You can leave a 5-star review after purchasing and enjoying your copy of A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty, one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Lisa and her co-author Heidi, to leave a 5-star review on Amazon. Again, that lets them know that they're doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books. And just remember, when you take the time to leave that 5-star review, you're also putting one more smile on Scotty's face and in his heart as well too. So if you need just a reason to leave the 5-star review, you're putting a big smile not only on Scotty's face, but also on his heart as well too. We will put the finishing touches on episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. David and I will be back at it to close out the program momentarily. Again, we hope that you are fully enjoying episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast here at the Center for Media Innovation on the campus of Point Park University in downtown Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. Well, we're a little bit saddened that we have to close out episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, but we had a fun time here today.
Yes, we did.
David, for episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, he, of course, is David Newell. You remember him and you love him as Mr. McFeely on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I am John Masiulionis. Little Forrest, of course, is back home in San Diego, but he will be returning back. You'll hear him. You'll feel his presence. Even though you feel his presence now, you will see him for our June Bookcast and onward. This has been a great time, and we've had the opportunity to do several of these in-studio Neighborly Reviews Bookcasts and have multiple authors come in and share their inspiring stories and the release of their brand new children's books and really connect with their hearts even that much more so as well too. Again, we want to give special thanks to Antoinette Tripodi Quinn, the award-winning best-selling children's author of Andrew Conquers the Court, as well as Lisa Wentzell and her family, her husband Scott, and of course their pride and joy, their son Scotty. And Lisa is the co-author of the new children's book, A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty. We covered a lot, we talked a lot, but especially all connected within the realm of perseverance, because as we were talking about, just before we hop back on to connect with all of you one more time, we were mentioning in the Center for Media Innovation Green Room that really when you're faced with a challenge, you have a choice. You can either face it and move through it and see what's on the other side, or you can kind of just, wallow and live in fear, and that's really not going to do much of anything in any way, shape, or form. Both of these books, they're not only great for kids, but again, we tend to say this regularly here at the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, that if there is someone that that's a little bit older, they can be a teenager, they can be a young adult, they can even be a full-blown grown adult. If they're moving through some kind of a challenge, especially when it comes to maybe leveling up, they're stepping into the next part of their mission, their purpose in life, or even just, again, doing something new for the first time, all of us can relate to perseverance, and especially when it comes to if you see someone that's feeling challenged, to show that empathy, to show that compassion, to show that kindness, to show that inclusion.
Well, that's, you saying that reminds me of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, because we got so much feedback from programs that we did about inclusion, about appreciation of differences and so forth. And these books have done the same thing. In fact, we had a whole week dealing with inclusion. We had guests from the Theater of the Deaf on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and to show children how they go through their day with sign language, some of them, and some of them with trying to speak. I don't know which is the accepted method, but we just wanted to show the perseverance, and I think we did that today on the Bookcast by these two books.
Most certainly so.
Perseverance is... There was a famous actress who once said, it's 10% talent and 90% drive. And that drive and perseverance, not always, but get you to your goal. Nothing's perfect in this world. You can work and work and work, and sometimes it doesn't make it. But eventually, if you try hard enough, in some version, you'll land at your goal. And I think that's what these two books help people with.
100%. And again, we encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course our fellow shining stars, to head on over to Amazon.com if that's your preferred online vehicle of your choosing. You can purchase and leave 5-star reviews for Andrew Conquers the Court, A Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty. And that's some of the many ways you can pledge your support for both Antoinette as well as Lisa, letting them know that they're doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books. Of course, If you happen to go to your favorite local library, your favorite children's or independent bookstore, remember they're the pillars of our community, David, and you do not happen to see them stock Andrew Conquers the Court and or Dog and His Boy, The Adventures of Spillway and Scotty, be sure to make a little kind recommendation, a little tip of the cap, so to speak, to let them know that you heard about these two great books here in episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. A little sneak peek, David, because we are going to be back here once again in the month of May at the Center for Media Innovation. We're super excited to review Simone Anderson's, her first two children's books, God, You Have Always Been With Me, and Where Is Love? Simone is going to be taking the trolley from Charlotte all the way to the Center for Media Innovation in Pittsburgh. You're so excited and you're feeling very lucky. Next month, you've already told me that you're going to be wearing your favorite Lucky sports coat, your favorite Lucky shirt, and your favorite Lucky pants, and your favorite Lucky shoes.
That's right.
So you've got like a favorite Lucky outfit, and you're feeling so good about it that you want to wear it a second time.
I'll wear it a second time. I'll get my money's worth.
Yes. But, you know, when we hear the trolley, that means that it is time to go. But again, David, it's always great. Like, people have asked me over the years, what is the most fun that you've ever had in doing your work? You know, we're approaching 10 years of service to children's authors, and I always say right atop the list is spending quality time with you and taking part in these Neighborly Reviews Bookcast episodes. If these messages that we have shared today about perseverance and empathy and kindness and inclusion, if these books have resonated with you, if you feel that they need to be shared with someone in need, we encourage you, if you haven't had the chance to do so, to subscribe to PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel, to share this very special trolley stop that you have been enjoying, that has been episode number 38 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. And again, by subscribing to the PR from the Heart YouTube channel, you can join the more than 12,000 members of the PR from the Heart family by subscribing to our YouTube channel as well. But again, when we hear the trolley, that means that it is time to go. But fear not, as we like to say, there are many more magical trolley stops to come. Forthcoming editions of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. If you are a children's author and you would like for David and I to be able to deliver a heartfelt review of your brand new children's book on a forthcoming edition of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, you know where to connect with us. Via our official website, prfromtheheart.com, or you can connect with us via any of our social media platforms that you now see on screen. Facebook, Instagram, and X, all at PR from the Heart. Of course, David, there are many authors whose visions, whose dreams are now taking flight, just like Antoinette, just like Lisa. They are proud members of the PR from the Heart family. If you are a children's author and again wish to be able to connect with more children and parents and caregivers and grandparents and educators through the media, if you want to be able to facilitate your very own book media tour or a national book media tour, connect with us via our official website, prfromtheheart.com. Let us see how we can be of service to you. You can schedule your courtesy connection call in the process, because again, fast approaching our 10-year anniversary of being of service to children's authors all across the country and all around the world. But we're looking forward to, again, spending more time with all of you. So we want to thank you for your continued support, because as we like to say, without you, there would be no us. We want to thank you for your continued support of PR from the Heart, for your continued support of the Children's Book Spotlight series. If you remember, and you're wondering, John, this is the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. Why are you mentioning the Children's Book Spotlight series? I forgot to mention, David Newell and I had an exclusive sit-down interview with New York Times best-selling children's author Brad Meltzer. Of course, the co-creator of the beloved Ordinary People Change the World series, and his brand new release, I Am Mr. Rogers. So be sure to subscribe to PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel. That interview has done tremendous numbers, and that's all thanks to all of you, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. So for your continued support of the Children's Book Spotlight series, you hop programs from the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast to the Children's Book Spotlight series. For your continued support of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, for your continued support as well of our friends and neighbors at Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh. Again, they are the Pittsburgh chapter, the Pittsburgh affiliate of the national non-for-profit children's literacy organization, Reading is Fundamental. Did you know that last year alone, Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh delivered more than 100,000 children's books to over 23,000 children in need? Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh provides essential resources, children's books, literacy tools, developmental resources to children that come from low-income families all across Pittsburgh. We encourage you, just as we continue to do each and every month, to pledge your support for Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh by heading on over to their official website, rifpittsburgh.org. We've included that in the description below. As we like to say, no donation is too large, no donation is too small. So again, thank you for your continued support of PR from the Heart, for the Children's Book Spotlight Series, for the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast, for Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh, for the pillars of our community, local libraries, children's and independent bookstores. But above all else, we want to thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world. Lastly, once again, we tip the cap once again. We feel His presence, we feel His Spirit every time that we are in Pittsburgh, every single time that we are in the city of the yellow and black, right? I guess it's a little bit of a Steelers reference, so to speak, right? But Mr. Rogers, in many ways, shapes, and forms, he reminded us of our inherent worth and our inherent value simply by the weight that he was when he walked this earthly plane. I still think that Mr. Rogers somehow connected with Ponce de Leon in a past life because he somehow knew the fountain of youth. He weighed 143 pounds during his entire natural adult life. So it's a little tip of the cap to Mr. Rogers, and of course, it's a little tip of the cap to you, David, for joining us here once again, as always, for Antoinette as well as Lisa, who joined us. We like to share with all of you our favorite three numbers, which are 2, 4, 3. There's 2 letters in we, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. We are reminding you of your inherent worth and your inherent value. We are reminding you that we like you, that we love you just the way that you are perfect, whole, healthy, and complete, just the way that you are. So, for David Newell, for myself, John Masiulionis, for the entire team behind the scenes at the Center for Media Innovation who always keep us warm and safe and comfortable, to Andy, to Tara, to the amazing Wayne, to Tanner, to Nick, to Olivia, who's enjoying a wonderful celebration with her family. Again, if you are a student looking for a great place to be able to further your academia, especially when it comes to being a future broadcaster as well too, check out Point Park University, the Center Information. They are definitely one of the places to be in the process. And you can be close to the presence and the spirit of Mr. Rogers, so why the heck not? So again, for David Newell, for myself, John Masiulionis, we will see all of you back here once again next month, episode number 39 of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast with Christian children's author Simone Anderson for episode number 39, again, of the Neighborly Reviews Bookcast. Thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Goodbye for now.
Speedy delivery.